Oh, it's similar to Aiden's invisibility spell. Then I say, Araka, I'm guessing you know where he is. Of course I know where he is, Araka says, but I'm not going to waste my time showing you his position just for some lousy mock battle. If you want to pass this lame test, figure it out yourself. Well, no matter where he is, Hardrick says he's bound to come out of invisibility to attack us at some point, so I'll just wait for the right opportunity to grab him then. And still grab people, right? It's not like I'm attacking him or anything, so the fact that he's a local shouldn't matter. What the... Hardrick suddenly tries to grab something from thin air behind him, but nothing happens. When I try to understand what happened, I notice that Hardrick's leather armor has been pierced from behind, and there is a bit of blood dripping from the upper side of his back. Did you seriously just attack me while he was still invisible? Hardrick says, as Peter is now moving towards one of the walls in order to observe the fight better. Since when do invisibility spells work like that? I told you that it's more than it's just a spell, the king says. His breathing, his aura control, his special orange-hilted dagger all play a role in helping him mask his presence. This is the result of years upon years of arduous training. You are taking assassins far too lightly. If you think that you can simply wait for them to strike before you attack them, if this wasn't a mock battle, getting stabbed like that would have very likely killed you, dwarf. Perhaps you should start taking this test a bit more seriously. Try to listen. Did they mention sound though? Sound. You won't be able to hear him. Okay, so then there's no point in listening. Lie to Albert, telling him that I know exactly where he is. What's the point of that? Try to concentrate and see if I can detect his aura with a magical sense. Stand there and do nothing, hoping that everything will work out on its own. What's my stats like? So wait, hold on. So this is not gonna work then. It might work actually. So here's the thing. Listen. So there's listen, lie. Lie is, let's remove that, and magical sense. So listen and magical sense. My magical sense is 0, so there's no point in that. So I'm gonna have to listen because that's the best stat I have for that. So I guess I'll try that. Try to listen very carefully in order to hear Albert's footsteps, because our hearing is super high. We should be able to do this. Hearing check level 7? Oh wait, what was the achievement I got? I didn't even read it. Sorry about that. How did I pass a hearing check level 7? I have 4 hearing. What does that mean? No matter how skilled Albert is, his feet still need to touch the ground when he is walking from one place to another. If I listen very carefully, maybe I'll be able to figure out when he'll strike next. I attempt to focus on any sound that may resemble footsteps, blocking any other noises from my mind. Unfortunately, it seems that I might have underestimated the assassin's ability, because even with my hearing stat maxed out, I simply cannot hear any sounds coming from the ground. But what if I were to use the secret code that I know from Melindra in order to boost my... Oh, that's what he was doing. So he went from 4 to 7. Because the maximum stat is like 10, right? He got a code. Allow him to boost his hearing stat. Well, that's convenient. I completely forgot about that, by the way. And another Melindra is honored to temporarily boost my hearing stat. Would that be enough to hear him moving? I quickly take out my stat device from my pocket and my crossbow from my backpack. Then insert the code the Melindra told me about, and I immediately grab my crossbow with both hands, knowing that I only have a few seconds to react before the temporary stat boost wears off. I can hear the steps now. They're barely audible even with the stat level, but I can hear them. I need to shoot him quickly before the effect wear off, but I shouldn't hit him in a vital spot. He did his best not to kill Hardrick after all. I quickly calculate his trajectory from the few steps I get to hear. I try to anticipate his path as well as I can when I shoot my crossbow bolt at the empty air in front of me. To my surprise, instead of hitting him or passing through the air, the crossbow bolt clangs against a metal surface and falls to the ground. Realizing that this was Albert deflecting the projectile with his dagger while still invisible, Hardrick wastes no time and he makes a quick dash towards assassin, grabbing onto something that at first glance seems to be nothing more than empty here. Let go of me, damn it, Albert says as he is now slowly coming out of invisibility, revealing to us the fact that Hardrick had apparently grabbed him by the leg. Let go of me or I swear I'll stab you for real this time. Hey, all of you have to do is admit defeat and I'll let you go, friend, Hardrick says with a smirk. There's no need to be so upset. It's only a friendly sparring match after all. All of a sudden, Peter extends his hand towards Hardrick and he shoots a powerful lightning attack out of his palm. As Hardrick is being shocked by the electrical current that is passing through his body, Albert tries to free himself, but the dwarf keeps holding on to him tightly and doesn't let him escape. It seems that the assassin is not being affected by at all by the electricity, even if Hardrick is still holding him by the leg. Does this mean that he has some sort of equipment item granting him immunity against electricity? You're going to have to do better than that, Hardrick tells Peter as he's holding with the pain from the electric current. Compared to the attacks of Kate's elementalist friend, this is like child's play. What the hell, Darren says as he turns to the King of the Underground. Since when is Peter a part of the test? You never told us that he would be shooting lightning at... as Darren was talking, Peter changed his mind and decided to target him instead of Hardrick, casting a lightning spell on Darren as soon as he exposed his back to him. Surely you didn't think that you would only be fighting Albert in the second phase of the test, did you? The King of the Underground says. Peter was obviously only giving you a head start. That is the only reason why he didn't attack you until now. When Kate hears what the King had to say, she immediately conjures 3 ice cones out of thin air. She sends them flying towards him. Sadly, the icicles don't even get close to the target. They're all easily reflected by an invisible force. A solid effort, the King tells Kate, but not good enough, I'm afraid. Once again, the King pushes every one of us except Melindra and Lena into the ground with his invisible force, but this time he is also using aura manipulation technique. Twist Darren's right wrist until he lets go of his sword. The King then makes the sword float all the way to his position. He grabs it in his hand. As Kate has already guessed, phase 2 was in fact a fight against Albert, Peter and me. The King of the Underground says, we weren't really expecting you to win, but we at least wanted to see how much of a fight you would put up. I will say that it's not a bad performance. I wasn't expecting you to be able to both capture and hold on to Albert for as long as you did. I also didn't think that Darren would be able to use his sword to undo my aura manipulation technique. Seeing you in action makes me think that we might actually be able to work together to achieve our common goals. Congratulations, you have passed the test. He then eases the pressure above us so that we can get back up. Wonderful, Darren says. Can I have my weapon back? Darren's weapon, okay. Of course, the King of the Underground says, and he makes Darren's sword fly back into his hand. Here is your sword. You might want to take better care of it from now on, but I personally recommend is that you learn some basic aura manipulation. It is easy to use an object that you are very familiar with, and it would help you retrieve your sword when it gets stolen from you again. Just keep practicing until you can make your sword fly back into your hand from at least 50 feet away. I'm sure that you'll get the hang of it eventually. I suppose, Darren says. I never actually tried doing anything of the sorts, but I guess it is worth a shot, thanks. If you don't mind me asking, Hardrick says, as he looks at the King, how exactly did you come to learn a technique as obscure as aura manipulation? Hardrick gets so good at it. He most likely learned it from the Captain of the Royal Guard, Kate says. Their techniques are much too similar for it to be a coincidence. Your friend is correct, the King of the Underground tells Hardrick. The current Captain of the Guard and I both used to serve as Royal Guards long time ago, and he was the one who taught me everything I know regarding aura manipulation. Sadly, I couldn't convince him to come with me and help me from this underground kingdom when I left the Royal Guard some 25 years ago. So we are not exactly on friendly terms anymore nowadays. From what I've heard, he's still searching for pupils, but to this day he hasn't managed to find anyone else that was talented enough to learn anything beyond the most basic aura manipulation techniques. Well, that's definitely good news for us. Darren says we won't have stood a chance against them if they had a whole army of skilled aura manipulators on their side. Indeed, the King of Underground says, but I do not want to be rude, but Albert, Peter, and I still have some things that we need to discuss in private in regards to our current refugee situation. So if you have any more questions, I'd appreciate it if you could keep them brief. Why did none of you attack Melindra and Layla during the test? Why did you become a Royal Guard? Do you and the Royal Guard have mage specializations aside from aura manipulation? Yeah, that would be good. I do want to know why didn't they attack Melindra and Layla, but it's kind of obvious that Melindra is super strong, so it's not gonna work on her. And for Layla, she is the daughter of the scientist, so we're gonna go with the specialization. Not necessarily specializations, but we can use regular spells like any other mages. The King of the Underground says the Captain of the Guard likes to use his aura manipulation most of the time because it's very effective and hard to counter, but he has been known to also use other types of spells whenever he felt like he's being cornered. We don't know exactly how many spells he can cast, so I recommend being careful when you fight with him, even if it feels like you are getting the upper hand during battle. Anyway, I hope this has answered your question. I believe you should all know your way to the teleporter room by now, so hopefully you'll forgive us for not escorting you on your way out. I bid you farewell. Right, I say. Goodbye, I guess. As We are about to exit the throne room. We hear some whispers behind us, and soon afterward, the kings call out to us. "One moment, please," the king says. "Peter has just reminded me of something that I think you might want to know before you return to the surface. In short, we have noticed the flying metal balls have no longer been following the usual patrol routes since yesterday evening, and they have also been behaving quite erratically. I heard that from Brainan that you killed Billy Bob yesterday, so this may be part of the reason. But I would be careful if I were you. Something tells me that the overseer is planning something big, and you might not want to be caught in the middle of it." "Alright," Darren says, "we'll try to be careful. Farewell." Farewell. Full stop and then farewell. We then go out through the door into the tunnel outside, so as we begin to head for the waiting room.